Throughout the nation, junior colleges, or community colleges as they are sometimes called, have become thriving additions to education. This presentation, which we have prepared for you this morning, will be entitled This is MJC, Meridian Junior College, your community college serving the needs of its supporting community of Meridian and Lauderdale County.
Dr. Ivey went up to the University of Chicago for some 6 weeks that summer. And while he was there, he attended by chance, really, a lecture by William Rainey Harper, who was the president of the University of Chicago, and one of the seed planters in the junior college movement. And the concept was that with many, many high schools, you needed to prepare students through a common general education for their collegiate experience. And so he talked about the junior college, or the first 2 years of the baccalaureate program, as a general education problem. Got board approval to build a new high school junior college campus and redesign the school district. Got the bond issues. So the building that you now know as Meridian High School was built in fact, the sign, when I came to Meridian in '63, the sign on it said Municipal Junior College. Dr. Ivey retired in '52. And he was followed by the president of East Central Junior College, who was Lindsay Todd, L.O. Todd, Dr. Todd. Dr. Todd had, as a school superintendent in Meridian in 1952, you had the beginning of the baby boom entering school. So your demographic curve was swooping up. And part of the answer was, well, we'll move the 13th and 14th grade out, and we'll move the 10th grade in. '63, we were busy trying to prepare for the move to this campus.
It's 47 years ago as I speak. That's 47 years, 64, 65, when we were at Stevenson School. So we had built up such a camaraderie and such dedication with the students and the faculty, and the idea came up that why don't we move? And then this Ivey building, the one building out here, was being built. And so the question was, we've got to get from Stevenson to out here. So it was suggested that the students and the faculty move the college. Well, it's really unbelievable, isn't it? But it happened, where the plans were made to organize in teams, and each faculty member had a team, and they had a name, like Edna Miller, Miller's Movers, and you had Francis Hardy, Hardy's Pages from the library, and we had Breck's Bugs, Miss Breckenridge. So we had, the names were fun, but the teams for that faculty member got the name for that team. And and they were having fun along the way. They got their own vehicles for the parade. So imagine, I don't know what insurance did at that time, but back then it seemed to be okay. So and the vehicles that we had, and they each were to decorate their vehicle. So the idea was, and they had to come out here and see where they were going on their own, and so that they would know where they were putting each piece of furniture, where they were putting the books, and so on, or anything that had been in that teacher's room, or any equipment. And naturally it had to be carefully moved, but when you look at some of those vehicles and trucks, you wondered how careful it was. It is the day we move. That was a little I think we thought about it as Z dash, but right now when I read things, it looks like ZEE, but it's just but the main thing was it was the day we moved. As we were planning, we had many planning sessions, and we were trying to come up with something catchy that might stick. And the day we moved is the one that was settled on.
One of the things that Dr. Todd got done that was overdue was extend Harris High School, the high school for African Americans that the Meridian District operated, to Harris Junior College, and it became grades 13 and 14 were part of the Harris High School setting. Having strong historically black schools made the early days of desegregation much easier. In the fall of '69, the Fifth Circuit Court, U.S. Fifth Circuit Court in New Orleans, ordered an end to the freedom of choice period. And in it, in their order, they noted that the board trustees of the separate school district were responsible for the community colleges and the high school, and so they just ordered the board to close Harris Junior College, and said students attending Harris may attend Meridian Community College, and that was the language of the order.
That period when the college was able to get legislation for separate board of trustees to be created, so that the college was truly separate from Meridian Public Schools. It had its own board of trustees, and that was around 1980 or so. And a part of that legislation to get a separate board of trustees so that it could truly function separately and wasn't tangled in the operation of Meridian Public Schools, that it was its own entity, own budget, own board of trustees, that its name became Meridian Community College.
Really, my charge was to build on the momentum of the Skaggs era. I hope that we have accomplished that in some sense. I guess the things that I'm proud of is that we've been able to expand the programming of MCC. A great example would be, our nursing program. This year we graduated more ADN nurses than any community college in the state. And that says a lot. And so that tells you about the regional impact that we have in just one program. I think what you have to try to do is create magnets that people will gravitate to, and we've tried to do that through programming. We've added several career and technical programs to give people new reasons to be associated with MCC. You have to try to reinvent yourself from time to time to remain viable. And I think we've done that.
So many great things. I've met so many students. Sometimes we are not aware of how we impact our students' lives until they come back later and tell us what a great influence you had over our lives. Working with the MCC family, and I've worked with the MCC family for now almost 30 years. So it's a part of me, can't get rid of it. I love it, greatest family ever.
Yeah, dual credit classes. When I was a junior and a senior, I was able to attend and take some classes, which made it a lot easier whenever I went off to my university at the W, because I'd already had those classes, and I'd already had that experience, and I knew what was expected of me when I went off to school. So that prepared me a lot for college life, MCC. And I was very inspired to come because of my mother, because she worked here. So it was just that much easier for that influence to make me want to come and take those classes.
But they were moving my office from upstairs in the Ivy building to the new theater workshop and wing was added on back there where it is now, the Ivy building. And my temporary office was a closet where the old media center was, where the radio station was. I don't know if you remember that. It was a cubicle. And I could barely get a desk and a chair and a student in there, two chairs and a student there at the same time. Well, they finally said, that's too small. You know where they moved me next? And I accepted it. They said, well, if you want a bigger office, where do you want to go? I said, well, the dressing room over there on stage left in the theater. So, okay, if that's where you want to move my bookcase, everything. The only thing, there was a urinal in there that ran constantly. When Ripple came to interview for her job as just speech teacher, forensics teacher, I interviewed her in the bathroom, literally. And years later, she said, you know, that was the strangest experience I've ever had, to be in a bathroom for a job interview.
Well, the funny thing about the aerobics is, when we started the land aerobics, then I had a friend, and she had written to her friend and said, I'm taking aerobics. And the friend wrote back and said, what are you doing taking acrobats? So she didn't realize what the aerobics was. But we started out with dance aerobics. And then some of the males didn't like the word dance, and so we just changed it to aerobics. But we started that back in the 70s, and then and it was fun.
And whenever I was a student, first Z-Day I went to, you know, I knew it was a fun day. It was a day off school, and we had back out here where the baseball field now is. We had different things set up. We had tug of wars across a big mud puddle, and we had events like horseshoe tossing, which I won, and a tobacco spinning contest, which I won, and a tricycle race, which I won. you know, we had all of these crazy spring festival kinds of activities going on. Now, I never had chewed tobacco, never have since, but I happen to have the aptitude for it, you know, at the time. I'm still a pretty good horseshoe tosser.
I used to tell my daughter that I rode a school bus for 14 years, and of course she did not believe that, because like most kids, she had a car when she was 15 or 16, but we rode a school van to Meridian Community College. And so there was a van that was really delegated to each of the 4 county school districts, and it was great. The van would come through and pick us up, and I think there were 7 or 8 on my particular van, and of that 8, 5 of us achieved college degrees and were educators. 2 of those got their doctorate degree, and all of us, I think, really could tell you that it is because of the efforts made by Meridian Community College that we were able to have access to college.
I guess the play I enjoyed doing the most was Raisin the Sun in 1971, which was obviously a quite different show for a community college to do. An all-black cast except one guy who played the owner, the landowner or the apartment owner. No, it's a subdivision Chicago owner who comes in to tell them the whites had voted them not to enter into their subdivision because they were black. I had an excellent actress, a black actress, and a young guy who actually worked in the media center at that time. And he worked harder than any student I've ever had to do the lead role, the Sidney Poitier role. Everybody said, he's not going to be good, Ronnie. You're wasting your time on this guy. But Johnny Beeson was his name, and Johnny just blew everyone's mind off charge because he was better than Sidney Poitier, in my opinion.
We were at the pool, and one of the lifeguards walked by, and I noticed he was up on the little ramp, and I noticed he went by in a hurry, and then I noticed some giggling, and one of our females had changed clothes out by the pool. So then I get a phone call from Dr. Roberts, and he said, Mrs. Damon, what is going on over there? Of course, as it turned out, he was joking, and the person that changed clothes did not mean any harm, but she was from a country that was not unusual to do. So we had a lot of fun, and Dr. Roberts laughed about it too, but when he called, he said, Mrs. Damon, what is going on over at the pool? And so quickly, I didn't know how words spread.
I think that Meridian Community College is close to home. And for my children, I don't know if they would agree with me or not, but I believe that that's the greatest part for them to start home and then venture off to other places. But this was the college that I wanted my children to come to because I came and I had so many positive influences here. It was warm, the instructors were great with me, and I wanted my children to experience them. My 3 children went here. My daughter's back working, and I think it's amazing. It makes me so proud, and it makes me proud of her as well as the MCC family, because they've been a very important part of our lives.
She makes me proud that she's been here so long. Every person I meet that knows my mother either had her as a teacher, has had her as a faculty member, staff member. They all have positive things. I don't think I've heard a bad thing about you. And that's a great thing. I love that. And not to mention, everywhere we go, this just lets you know how many people you've impacted. There's not one place we go, McDonald's, Walmart, church, that people do not know my mom. And it's uncanny, but that's the legacy that I'm very proud of, because I have somebody in my life who's not only impacted my life positively, but has impacted thousands of other people that she's taught or that she's worked with, and that is amazing. That's a blessing to have somebody in your life like that. So she's been here for almost 30 years. There's got to be something about a position or a family that makes you want to stay somewhere for 30 years. 30 years of experience really does encourage a child to want to seek that same advantage.
Well, what the Board of Trustees has tried to accomplish in the past several years is we had a landlocked campus. And there was really no opportunity to expand on campus. So our board felt like, what are the opportunities that we have to provide for future development of the college? And that was the reason that we acquired the Mattie Hersey property. That was the reason we acquired the Spot Restaurant property, the Walmart building on Highway 19, the Yamaha building immediately across the street from the college. And quite frankly, it's unlikely during my tenure as the president here that all of those properties will be fully developed for lack of funding. You know, you can't do everything all at once. But the main thing is to have the land. You know, you can't replace land. And if someone else were to have acquired those facilities, we would have lost the opportunity into the future to, you know, whether you eventually, for instance, tear a building down, you've still got the land and it's still in juxtaposition to the campus. There's the paramedic program. That adds to the cadre of health occupations programs that we already have. And it's undeniable, of course, that one of the real foundations of our economy in Lauderdale County is healthcare. So we have all these great healthcare programs, some of which we've added, others of which we've expanded. And as long as I'm here, I'm going to continue to look for ways to increase our business in that area. Why? Not only because of the nexus with our local economy, because those are good jobs. And Americans are living longer than ever before. There's probably going to be more and more opportunity in healthcare, and our students will therefore have the great opportunity to provide for themselves and their family by pursuing those careers.